For the past 15 years, I have been in the front lines of the crisis of masculinity, and I have witnessed the triumphs of great men who transcend the crisis. Today, I'm going to share my findings, the single biggest barrier within masculinity, and the 3 ways that great men think alike. There's a message that's been propped up and bought into for a long, long time. The message that there's only one way to be a man. You have to be tough and silent and a lone wolf, and you have to be a martyr, and you have to see power as top down. And this is, the academics call this hegemonic masculinity. I just think of it as the mass culture's concept of what it means to be a man, masculinity. And this same message says that if we are emotional as men, we are weak, except in sports. It says that if we don't score with enough women, we are losers. It says that if we don't make enough money, we are failures. It says that we will always be inept as fathers, and that at our core, we are all naturally violent. It boils down to a fear of otherness, the fear of anything other than this sort of tough guy manhood. And I'm here today to present a replacement for that message, because I think we can do better than a message that serves nobody and hurts everybody. And I can tell you, I started the Global Center for Healthy Masculinities, and I've been working with men and boys of all ages. I now am an editor at the Good Men Project, where we do reach the same traffic levels as Oprah.com and Politico.com with this conversation about what it means to be a man. And men really are ready for change. All across the board, I see it. And maybe you feel this too, guys. Maybe you feel like, I want to be an intellectual and I want to be adventurous. Indiana Jones, right? I want to be a great businessman and a great father. I want to be a gifted artist and an athlete. I want to have sex and love. I want to be plural. When you begin thinking along these lines, you begin to break the old mold of masculinity and stepping into your own greatness. And so many men are looking for ways to achieve greatness. And there is one barrier, and I'm going to get to the barrier to our greatness and the 3 ways that great men think alike, and they are introspect, respect, connect. Easy to remember. If you want to be a great man, become a seeker of purpose, of direction, of meaning, of value and principle. That search will lead you to an authentic sense of self and self-respect. And the respect that you engender for yourself, you will then learn you can give to others, that it's an infinite power. And then that respect that you have for others will lead you out of isolation and into more connection. Great men do this really well. Great men surround themselves with other men who hold them accountable to being great. We take mentorship and brotherhood very seriously at that level. And we know, any great man knows that we are pack animals. We move in groups. That's the way it works. Imagine a world where all men sort of had that in their mind as what it means to be a great man. Our fathers and our brothers and our teachers and our colleagues, our managers, our policemen, our politicians. We could, in a single generation, wipe away so many of society's problems that come from the fear of otherness that men have. Some of those symptoms are really powerful. We need more great dads. Fatherlessness is one of the biggest crises of masculinity. It's one of the key indicators of whether or not you will be suicidal, depressed, imprisoned, violent. It's one of the key indicators. We need more great dads. We need more empathic leaders. More people would rather have a hangover than talk to their boss. We need more great men in the workplace as well. But the cause that's closest to my heart, and it's a cause I think we could really change, is the sexual assault crisis. 15 years ago, a friend told me that she had survived a sexual assault. And as we reeled from the pain and the violation of trust she'd endured, I tried to help her heal. And in the back of my mind, I was wondering, why? Why would any man think that this was okay? Where were the other men to stop this man? What would a great man do to stop sexual assault? And more importantly, what could I do? And I knew I wanted to be more than just a Band-Aid. I wanted to prevent the sexual assault from happening, right? I wanted to get in front of it. The first image that came to mind was from masculinity. It was this concept of maybe I could be Liam Neeson, right? Kick down the door, save him. But the math doesn't work. While I'm on stage today, there will be 10 sexual assaults in the US alone. Even if I was tough enough, and we all in this room went Liam Neeson, full Liam Neeson, we couldn't be in enough places. So we have to get in front of the incident. We have to step in front of it. What happens before a sexual assault? We know that sexual objectification is not about the object at all. It's actually about the learned isolation of the subject. We as men, when a man devalues another person, he has automatically devalued himself. He has said, I feel isolated, I feel disconnected, I feel numb, and I feel powerless. And I see your body as a means to an end to make myself feel more powerful. When in truth, if anybody's ever done any introspection, you know power comes from within. And so it's not enough just to teach men to respect women on the surface. And we have to get men to understand that power comes from within. Guys, if you've ever thought this through, you realized you didn't choose to be a man, right? And you didn't choose your skin color. And you didn't choose the region or the religion you were born into. And you didn't choose to have 10 fingers and 10 toes. And for that matter, you didn't choose to be human at all. And if that's true, then you didn't choose your physical form, and no one else chose their physical form. And so we all must be equal from birth. And that goes even deeper, because if you have even for a moment felt that internal power and wisdom, then everyone else around you must have wisdom and power. And instead of wanting to leer, we begin wanting to learn, right? The majority of violence is perpetrated by men. Not all men are violent. In fact, it's a minority of men who are accounting for the largest majority of the violence. And there are a lot of men and boys who are victims of violence as well, but usually at the hands of men. Men are the perpetrators of violence for the largest part, the culture of violence. But I don't think violence is a natural trait. I think violence is a learned trait. I think violence is a symptom. I think violence is a reaction. And actually, I have worked with batterers at a domestic violence shelter, and I began asking these guys what they were feeling, what was really going on inside them. And I got some really interesting feedback I'd love to share. These guys felt like they were cornered, and like they were adrift, and like they were purposeless, and like they didn't have enough options within masculinity to be anything else. No one had ever represented to them that they could be anything other than the tough guy manhood, right? And when I realized that these guys were so purposeless and adrift, what I found out is that they were, to deal with the pain of being adrift that we all feel at some point in our lives, to deal with that pain, they cope with numbness. This is the big barrier that men put up, numbness. And numbness is insidious because by definition, you don't know you're in it. You don't know you're numb. And if you can't feel your own feelings, you can't possibly feel the feelings of someone else. And so empathy is cut off. It's like a different language. And all of community breaks down. When in reality, what you want to feel is inspired and connected and respected. And you want to feel your own greatness. I've worked with men in 300 workshops at this point on purpose and in finding their purpose and getting out of being adrift and stagnant and feeling alive. And I can say the more we do this work, the less and less numb we become, right? And the more and more alive. And the more alive we become, as soon as I see this happening, you know, guys, you do this. You do the introspection, and you start to move up the alive scale, and you start to realize you have purpose and meaning, and you start to look around and realize I start to respect myself even deeper, enough to step away from numbness. And if I was numb, then all the guys I was around before and I'm around now were numb as well. And if that's true, maybe I should start talking to these guys. And the guys you're around start to connect with you, and you start to move up in groups because, as I said before, we are pack animals. We as men can move up together, and we often do. We also will slide backwards together. Okay? So the question is not really, how do I stop the sexual assault? Because if we do this, if we move up groups together, then we get down here to the end where Liam Neeson kicks down the door, and there's no violence whatsoever, right? Because it's like Back to the Future. You've erased the future moment of violence back here. You nipped it in the bud. You got the numbness out. You got the men connecting. It's not about how do I end sexual assault. Everyone in sexual assault prevention knows we have to talk to men. They know that we have to talk to the men. But about what? It's about more than being an intervention. It's about more than being there. It's about, are you feeling or are you numb? I want to talk about what great men do. So, just a second, sorry. So I want to talk about what great men do. And if you guys want to be a part of this, I'd like for you to be a part of this as well. Men who do the introspection and the respect and the connection realize that they have meaning and purpose, right? And so they go back to this point and they realize that this person here also has purpose and meaning. And so therefore, instead of treating them as if they are meaningless because I feel meaningless, we treat them as if they have meaning. Again, we all move up this scale. And if you want to be involved in helping us change the society so that we have more great men, here's what you can do. It's one of my favorite exercises for my program, the EmpowerMentorship Institute. You take out your phone in just about a minute and 1 second. You're going to get to take out your phone, and I want you to think of a person, a friend of yours, who you haven't spoken to in a little while, and you're either going to text them or call them and say one line, 7 little words. And the words are, "Your friendship means a lot to me." This single phrase will take you through the introspect, respect, connect channels. You have to introspect to even have thought of your friend and to think of the phrase that your friendship means something to me. You have to have been respectful enough to make the communication happen. Oftentimes we think this, but we don't say it out loud. And the connection is just there. You just make the connection happen. What's beautiful is you step out of numbness immediately. Great men have the same fears as the rest of us, right? We fear being lost. We fear others. We fear being adrift. We fear being broken. We fear duality. But great men overcome that fear. They step away from numbness and into greatness. They choose connection. And so I want you today to take a moment and step in to your own greatness. Choose greatness. The world depends on you. Thank you.